Today, we are going to dive deep into a profound and almost mythical discovery, the story of the American P-40 Kitty Hawk fighter plane, a relic of World War II that was lost to the world for 70 years, yet miraculously rediscovered in a state of nearly perfect preservation. This is not just a tale of wartime destruction. It is a captivating saga of a unique moment when time itself ceased, sealed by the silent, unforgiving sands of the desert. If the intersection of military history, deep-sea level archaeology, and the sheer grit of human endurance captivates you, please consider giving this video a like to help us share this incredible account. And we kindly invite you to subscribe to our channel for more deep dives into the forgotten corners of history. This aircraft was operational during the brutal North African campaign of 1942. In the harsh reality of aerial combat, lost planes are typically found as scattered, mangled debris, swiftly stripped by scavengers or swallowed by the rapid decay of the elements. The desert, far from being a preservative, is usually a destructive force, with abrasive sandstorms and rapid temperature swings tearing apart structures. But this particular Kitty Hawk's destiny was profoundly different. Its journey ended not in a catastrophic explosion, but in a desperate, controlled forced landing deep within the western desert of Egypt, in a landscape so remote and utterly arid that it became the plane's unwitting, sterile curator. For a staggering 7 long decades, it lay there, buried and untouched, the scorching fine sand acting as a monumental natural time capsule. The moment of its 2012 discovery by a Polish oil exploration worker was truly breathtaking, akin to opening a perfectly preserved tomb. What they found was not a mere wreck, but a ghostly, intact machine. The level of preservation defied all known aviation archaeology protocols. The desert camouflage paintwork, though faded by relentless sun, was still largely visible. Inside the cockpit, the sensitive gauges and dials were undisturbed, the control yoke resting exactly where the pilot's hands had left it. Most hauntingly, the wings still held their .50 caliber machine guns and ammunition, their belts loaded and ready for a fight that concluded 70 years prior. The dry, stable air of the Sahara had meticulously preserved not only the metal, but the fragile canvas, rubber, and plexiglass components, halting the relentless march of rust and decay. It truly looked as if the young pilot had simply stepped out for a desperate temporary break from the unbearable internal heat, fully intending to return to his machine. This incredible silent witness to history belonged to 24-year-old Flight Sergeant Dennis Copping of the RAF's 260 Squadron. The date was June 28, 1942. Copping was tasked with the critical mission of ferrying the P-40 to a repair depot for urgent maintenance on a damaged landing gear that wouldn't fully retract, a critical flaw that made any further combat flight impossible. Tragically, he became dangerously disoriented during the flight. Navigating over the trackless waste of the desert was an existential challenge. With no distinct landmarks, low visibility, and unreliable magnetic compasses, Copping flew hundreds of miles off course into the trackless, silent void, likely convinced he was maintaining his correct heading. As his fuel gauges dropped critically low, Copping faced the inevitable. He performed a masterful, though desperate, belly landing on the unforgiving sand of the Wadi El Farah Valley, sacrificing the propeller and radiator intake to the impact, but keeping the airframe intact. A final, brilliant display of his skill as a pilot. The meticulous evidence left at the crash site painted a poignant, hour-by-hour picture of his immediate ordeal. The cockpit canopy had been urgently opened and propped up, clearly to ventilate the searing, near-fatal heat inside. The radio and battery were pulled out and set beside the fuselage with clear signs of frantic, yet ultimately futile attempts to repair the communication set and call out a life-saving SOS signal. Sergeant Copping, faced with a radio that would not transmit and quickly dwindling supplies, made the ultimate fatal calculation: to abandon the comparative safety of his plane and walk. The rope tied to the wheel to prevent the plane from drifting, a detail found by the rescuers, was a silent testament to his initial hope of return. Yet the necessity of survival won out. He likely calculated the distance to the nearest known landmark or track and set off on foot, leaving his life to the absolute mercy of the unrelenting desert sun. No human remains were found immediately next to the plane, suggesting he walked until he was physically unable to continue. Though unconfirmed reports later surfaced of remains found miles away, the terrifying final moments of Flight Sergeant Dennis Copping's solitary struggle against the vastness remain sealed and mysterious. His last journey became a human drama swallowed by the silence of the dunes. The aircraft, however, was forgotten and became a monument protected by nature's own meticulous archiving system. 70 years of sandstorms, instead of eroding the wreckage, effectively sealed and preserved it like an archaeological treasure. The dry, stable climate meant that metal fatigue and corrosion barely occurred. Experts were stunned, realizing they had found the aviation equivalent of a Pompeii artifact. When the news of the discovery broke, it sent ripples of excitement across the globe. Aviation historians hailed it as one of the most significant finds of the era. The P-40's discovery provided an unparalleled window into the logistics, technology, and sheer human factor of the war in the desert. Tragically, this perfect historical preservation was soon marred by modern opportunism. Once the site was publicized, even in its remoteness, it was quickly visited by scavengers and opportunists. Before the plane could be properly secured by authorities, its irreplaceable parts, including rare cockpit instruments, panels, and sadly the guns, were ripped away and vandalized. Very object that the sterile desert had protected for 70 years was rapidly damaged by human hands in a matter of days. This act of modern destruction serves as a painful reminder of the challenges facing historical preservation efforts globally. Despite the vandalism, the core airframe, engine, and much of the fuselage were successfully recovered. The ghost of the Sahara, as it became known, was eventually prepared for transport and painstaking restoration in the United Kingdom. The goal is not merely to create a museum exhibit, but to establish a tangible, profound tribute to Flight Sergeant Dennis Copping and to all the airmen who battled the brutal, unforgiving conditions of the North African theater. This aircraft, the P-40 Kitty Hawk, truly embodies a forgotten moment of history. It is not merely a collection of aluminum and steel. It is a profound, silent testament to a single soldier's isolation, hope, and final desperate struggle for survival. While the aircraft now rests in comparative safety, the heartbreaking secret of its brave pilot's last walk will forever remain a mystery, interwoven with the eternal shifting sands of the Sahara. We hope this powerful story resonates with you. Please share your thoughts on Dennis Copping and his incredible Kitty Hawk in the comments below. Until the next mysterious discovery, farewell.